You are watching Midnight Movie Talk Live here from Los Angeles on this Thursday night. I am Eric Weber. Welcome to MMT. Thank you so much for being here as we discuss the weekend's movie slate and the films you should see and the films you should possibly skip. And I just got out of Bros. So if you don't know what Bros is a gay rom-com. It's the first real full-on embrace by Hollywood to deliver. I mean, this is absolutely, there's no question that this is a film that is about gay relationships. Okay. So if you have any questions about how far Bros goes and leans into that, the trailer should have told you. But once you see the film, you see even more that Universal was fearless when they made this decision to make the film. Billy Eichner is really strong here. And we're going to talk a little bit about how he fits into the awards conversation, if he does, and why can't he, in a moment. But overall, I mean, this is pretty stereotypical rom-com stuff, right? The two people meet, and then they, jar, and they go at it a little bit, and then they fall in love, and then they fall apart, and then at the end, they realize they're for each other, right? I didn't give the movie away. You guys know this was going to happen. But I think what makes Bros work is, first of all, it's very quick in its jokes and its pacing, especially off the top of the film. It really just goes snap, 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 snap. I mean, a little bit of a Lord and Miller movie, and I think there's no one who does comedic timing better than Lord and Miller. So I think that's already working in its favor. Then you have Billy Eichner, who's very relaxed, very natural in this role. You buy him as the podcaster that is looking for love. And then you have this, the object of his affection, which is this, hunky dude, Luke McFarlane. I don't think I've ever seen Luke in anything before, but let me say that Luke is, yes, he's a handsome dude, and he's very good as well. And I think the relationship obviously has to work, right? The chemistry has to be there, which it is. But again, I just want to make sure that everyone understands when you're going to see Bros, you are going to see a movie that, again, leans very hard into the gay relationship. And that is to be applauded. But it's also something to make yourself aware of if you're going to the multiplex this weekend. For me, it's absolutely a C, because as a rom-com, as a film that just takes you away and you have fun with, and you generally enjoy yourself for, it could have been a little shorter, but a little under 2 hours. I'd bring it in at about 140. I think it's a much better film just because we're talking 15 minutes just cut out. I still think that this is a recommend, and I really like Billy Eichner in awards veil. Like, we look at this through the lens of who played their role, what they're required to do, and then how they performed. Then Billy Eichner absolutely passes the test. And we have so much of this, well, it's not an awards movie, so we can't possibly have Tom Cruise in Top Gun Maverick, because that's not a normal awards movie where people are pontificating the entire time, and we have, the massive monologue that's always delivered in every Best Actor, Best Actress performance. But in this case, Billy Eichner works for me, and certainly for Golden Globes. You remember, Golden Globes have drama and comedy musical, and in this case, Bros fits very well there, so I think that he's absolutely going to be there in one of those five. And then once you get into the Golden Globes, okay, we can talk about Golden Globes, about where they still fit into the awards, pantheon of awards. We're still way up there. I know they went through their thing they went through. But at the end of the day, the Golden Globes are still an NBC show. They are still a primetime, very visible award show, and they lead up into the Oscars. So if Billy Eichner ends up being in that conversation, then, the next step is to take it to the Oscars. I'm not suggesting he's going to get there. Okay, please. That's not what we're saying here tonight. What we're saying is that we should at least consider the possibility that you could take somebody from a rom-com, from a comedy, and put them into a Best Actor or Best Actress conversation. We've seen it in the past. There's no reason we can't do it again. So I'll tell you, again, if you want to have fun, and you are aware of what you're getting into, then Bros is for you this weekend. Let's do a sales check on this Thursday night. This is something I love to do now on Thursdays. We did it last week, and now we're going to do it right now. We're going to pull up sales live across the nation. Here we go. We're going to start with Burbank 16, which is down the street. You know, it's my home theater. So where do you think we're going to start? We're going to start at Burbank 16. And remember this, that tonight is Smile, tonight is Bros, and these are the two major wide releases. Let's go to Dolby Cinema 950, which is coming up here in about 45 minutes. Boom, pull it up. And we have, it looks about 65, 70% full. Not bad for 950. The earlier show at 7 looked even more full. Now, when we talk about Smile and what we expect to see this weekend box office-wise, I think you're looking at something bigger than Barbarian, and we could be for sure. And we're going to push this further past 15, closer to 20. I think if Paramount can get this into the 20 million range, then we are looking at a very big success for them, because this is a very small horror film that has a tiny budget attached to it, right? And that's the thing about horror films. They don't have typically a very big budget. So when you end up being successful like a Barbarian, which had, I believe, a $6 million budget, now it's almost at 30 million, you are into the black, right? You are making money on this film, and that is what Paramount hopes to do with Smile. Let's look at another. Let's skip to another theater. So we go back, and let's actually go down and look at Bros real quickly. So here's Bros. Let's do the 9:15, like 5 minutes away. Not very full. Back row looks pretty good. Here's the thing about Bros. Universal's putting this thing at under 10, which I think, given what the film is and what it deals with, and the reluctance of a lot of, I really don't like to say this, but it just seems like the easiest way to say it, the flyover states and or, more conservative leaning people, they're not going to walk into Bros. They're not buying a ticket to see it. So that's why the number is, under 10 for this. So we'll see. I think what you're going to see with Bros is people show up on the coast, right? In the New Yorks, the LAs, the Chicagos, San Franciscos, DCs, even to Columbus, Ohio. My hometown is a very big gay community in Columbus, Ohio. So when you have that, you're going to look for sales that are up, because obviously the film is targeting that audience. But what Universal's hoping is that they can get some bleed into some other demographics, not just the gay community. They want to get all kinds of folks into this. I just think that's a tough ask right now. But again, I do commend Universal for really going all in on this. I mean, they didn't go like 75%. They went 100% in on a gay rom-com, okay, having just sat through it. And that's to be applauded, because ultimately the marketplace will decide whether it's successful or not, but you have to at least give it a shot. So if Bros turns out to be a success for Universal, and they make some money, or even just get close to, let's just say, break even or make money, at that point, hey, maybe we do get a Bros 2. Maybe they're amenable to doing another film like this, or another studio says, hey, we have opened, the floodgates are open, let's go ahead and do this. We have broken through the barrier, and now we can make some movies that we normally wouldn't make. And I know you're going to say something like Brokeback Mountain, and I understand, but that's not Bros, okay? They're different films. And when you watch Bros, you'll see what I'm saying. But this is, again, Ford really, really pushing into this. And Universal is going to obviously roll with this, and I commend them again for doing that. Let's go to another. Let's pick another city, okay? Since we did L.A., let's randomly see if we can find. Let's actually, before we leave L.A., let's go to Century City, because Century City typically is the number. It's either Burbank or Century City, right? When we look at sales for Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday, the weekend sales, we are looking primarily in LA at two major theaters. One, Burbank 16, in the whole Burbank multiplex, right? You've got three different theaters in Burbank that are AMC. And then we go to AMC Century City, because Century City is right near Beverly Hills. It's in the middle of a bunch of Hollywood folks that go to see movies. So that's why you see this thing always doing well. Let's look here. Let's look at the 945 Smile, and you're looking at, it's pretty full. I mean, that is at least, I would say 75, 80, 85% full. Not bad. Let's go look at Bros, and then we'll go to New York. Although, actually, if we go to New York, it's midnight there. Okay, the Bros at 9:45 is dead. I mean, there's like 10 seats sold. So that's a perfect picture of what they're looking at here. When Universal is forecasting, 8-9 million for the weekend, it's because of, again, the fact that this movie is not going to play to the entire pie chart. It's going to play to a sliver of the audience, and not every film has to play to the entire pie chart, right? It just doesn't. So that is curious. Let's go to New York and see if are there any screenings this late in New York. Let's figure it out. Where are we? Where's New York? I had it on here somewhere. Nah, I got to find it. We'll come back to it. Okay, I want to go into topic number 2 here tonight. And it is, who you got, Tom Cruise or Adam Sandler? Now, in case you didn't know, Netflix is pushing Adam Sandler in Hustle for Best Actor. If you look over my shoulder, up to your right side of the screen, right above Avengers Endgame, you're going to see the Hustle box. That Hustle FYC screener is loaded with all these glorious quotes calling Adam Sandler's performance the best of his career and blah, blah, blah. First of all, that's not true. It's uncut gems. And second of all, I said this when I first got that DVD. Hustle's not an awards film, okay? It's just not. And someone today on Twitter said exactly what I was thinking. And apologies if you're watching, and I'm not saying it to you. If Adam Sandler couldn't get an Oscar nomination for Uncut Gems, he certainly isn't getting it for Hustle. I mean, Hustle is such a troubling film for me because it's frustrating as hell to watch a film that could have been so much better and instead ends up being extremely mediocre. And that's what Hustle is. And Adam Sandler is trying, but again, I go back to the scene. If you've seen Hustle, the scene where he's on the phone trying to save his career and he's yelling like he's doing stand-up. That's where the director has to stand in and say, hey, Jeremiah Ziegler, I believe, and I don't know if he had at this point, it's really hard to talk. If you're a director, and this is your second film, which I believe for Jeremiah was, is you have a major star here. So to be able to tell him, go up to him and say, hey, Adam, listen, we're doing the scene, but I can tell you something. It's not really working. You're kind of screaming like almost like, like your stand-up stuff. So I'm thinking maybe we should bring that down a notch. Let's go from a 10 to a 7. Can we get there? And then once we get to a 7, hey, can we bring that down to a 6? I think that's where an experienced director who has a lot of credibility would have helped Adam Sandler in this movie. So the fact that I'm having this conversation about Adam Sandler in that scene in his kitchen trying to save his career, when I'm pointing out something in the film that didn't work, and we're talking about a best actor performance, that shouldn't happen, right? When I'm talking about Joaquin Phoenix and Joker, let's use recent examples. There was no point in Joker where I said, Joaquin, that one scene that's pretty, important to the whole entire film, that wasn't really your best stuff. Let's try. There was none of that, right? It was like, this is a great performance. And I think when you start doing that with an Adam Sandler in a Hustle, which is already a borderline at best, and I mean at best film, as far as an awards film, borderline at best, and you've got scenes that are not ringing true, then how are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Netflix, why are you doing this? So here's the question I'm posing for you right now. Who do you have? Tom Cruise or Adam Sandler? You can only get one in, okay? Because Best Actor is going to be traditionally slotted with all the folks that are in all the awards films. Right now, you're looking at Brendan Fraser in The Whale. You're looking at Hugh Jackman in The Son. You're looking at Austin Butler's in for sure for Elvis. That's 3. So let's just say we'll throw someone else in there, whoever it is. Once we get out of that, you have one spot to play with, pretty much. And that would either be in this scenario I'm posing right now, which is when you're going to come into the comments and tell me, do you have Adam Sandler or do you have Tom Cruise in Top Gun Maverick? Which one do you want in of your 5th? And we're going to, by the way, we're going to get to the bros comments in a moment. Let me do this, then we'll work backwards. Who do you have? Do you have Cruise or do you have Adam Sandler? Cruise, no question. For me, it's not even a competition, right? Tom Cruise, Top Gun Maverick, and if you want to pick out a scene and you're going to say to yourself, well, then what was the scene? What was the Oscar moment for Tom Cruise? The Oscar moment, there are numerous ones for me. They might not be as big and as bold and audacious as we've seen in some other performances. But when we watch him sitting there getting dressed down and he's like, not today, right? That has become an iconic scene, okay? Also, Clearly. When he's there with Val Kilmer, when he's there with Iceman, and they have that conversation as he's looking at the screen, and then finally, Val is able to speak a few words, and he says, who's better? That whole scene, okay, is mint. That is an Oscar moment right there. If you want to run the reel, that's it. And for Adam Sandler, I would laugh. It would be funny if Adam Sandler got in for Hustle, because I know Netflix is pushing it. If he got in and we had a conversation and he's there and here is the Oscar moment and it's him screaming in the kitchen, I swear to God, I would die. At that point, I will go live and we will go off for like 3 hours, because that'll be the funniest thing I've seen. I literally say the scene that doesn't work, the scene that Adam Sandler is too juiced, too amped, he needed to ground it more, and that's your Oscar moment. There's no chance, guys. There's a 0% chance Adam Sandler gets in. I know Netflix doesn't want to hear that. Oh, funny story. Funny story. So remember the other night, I was telling you guys that when you say things that are detrimental to a film, studios are not necessarily all that excited to invite you to one of their events. And I understand. Listen, I'll be honest with you. I wasn't planning to go to an Adam Sandler Hustle Best Actor party, because that's not who I am, guys, right? Do you think after sitting here saying what I've just said about Hustle and the tweets I've sent, do you think I'm going to roll into a party for Adam Sandler and go, oh my God, Adam, your performance is great? That would be two-faced. That would be ridiculous. And frankly, Netflix would kick me out of the joint. So funny story, they're having a party soon. I'm not going to tell you when, because I don't want anyone stalking the party. They're having a party for Adam Sandler, an event. They're going to screen it, and they're going to have some people, and it's cool. I didn't get an invite, but some people I know did. And I found that very funny, because it really just reinforced what I told you guys. And you're going to say, they didn't invite you, Eric. No, I get invites for virtually everything. And that is not me saying, oh, how great I am. I'm telling you truth. When we come on here, let's get one thing straight. And by the way, today, oh my God, on Twitter, we're going to get into this too. I got into it. Do not ever rile up the Marvel or DCEU fan base. The hidden behind a comic book avatar group. Do not rile them up, because it's just not worth the time. You go, who is this? And 99.999% of the time, if you were to remove the avatar and get the actual person who is sending the tweet in front of you, you'd go, yep, I understand why you're hiding behind an avatar. I mean, is that not true? Don't do that. But when I say these things, these truths, I say it and then it happens. That's what we do here at MMT. We predict the future. And listen, my batting average is a 999. That's the reality of it. Okay. It's very high. I am usually, if not always, right. And I know that pisses some people off. Too bad. Just learn to live with it, because there's no other, you can't change it. And the truth is, like I said the other night, Eternals is not a masterpiece. There is no way to even give you any leeway in that. It is not a masterpiece. Don't pretend it is, because it's not. There's your Marvel MCU hiding behind an avatar moment. Tweet that out tomorrow. I can't wait. That'll be so much fun. Let's see who else we got. Voters that love Top Gun and Cruise will be biased, and Cruise's star power may propel him over a newcomer like Diego Calva or Bill Knight. No, well, Bill's certainly not a newcomer, but you're saying a first newcomer like Diego or Bill. I don't think Bill has a chance. Okay, screenwriting professor, by the way. Yeah, I think he didn't mean it that way. Welcome to the channel, by the way. So listen, Nick. Yes. No question that Cruise is going to get in over Sandler. I'm just going to throw it out there so we can have some fun with it. The fact that Netflix is actually trying to get Adam Sandler and Hustler into the Best Actor race. I commend them for being very bold, but I also admonish them for throwing cash in the toilet, because there's no chance it's happening. Okay, it's just not. Okay, so I'm not going to tell you the whole details of the event, but Netflix is having an event with a major Hollywood star, and what they like to do with these events is they like to bring in an actor and then have a star that has either worked with him or knows him, familiar with his work, whatever, is going to come in and be there to give support, right? We saw it last year By the way, you're not getting this anywhere else. This is MMT exclusive stuff. No one else can put all these pieces together. Truth. Last year we saw this when you look at Belfast. Belfast had a party, and guess who showed up? Robert Pattinson. Well, why was Robert Pattinson at a Belfast party? Well, because, as you guys know, he worked with a certain very prominent member of the Belfast cast / director in Tenet. So once those relationships are built, then the agents and the managers, and frankly, if they're friends, they work together and say, hey, could you swing by the Belfast party, Robert Pattinson, and lend your support? And that's what we're going to see here in FYC season. So Adam Sandler has a major star who's showing up to lend support. And it's traditionally how the game's played. Okay, I get it. But again, I just go back to the fact that Adam Sandler is not a Best Actor candidate. It just isn't happening. There's no chance. We'll go back to that. Let's get into topic number 3, which dovetails perfectly into this. Did you guys see this? This is great. This is fantastic. This is probably my favorite thing. You guys know how much I love to discuss the Gray Man. So here we go, everybody. Put on your seatbelts. We're rolling in, and we're going to get crazy. Netflix Awards FYC page. You go here, and this is where Netflix has all of the films they are pushing for awards. Now, in fairness, I will admit this because I will always disclose as much truth as I can. They're going to list virtually not everything, but most of their big films are here, okay? Not all, but there's a lot, okay? You got All Quiet on the Western Front. I'm looking forward to seeing that. I'm hearing very good things. You got Bardo there. Apollo 10.5. It's a definite shot at animated. Blonde is there. Keep rolling down. Glass Onion. The Good Nurse, Pinocchio. Wait, what's this? What is the hell? What? What the hell is that? Are you kidding me, Netflix? Tell me you are kidding me. You have the Gray Man on your FYC page. This is the most egregious and flat out incorrect usage of FYC propaganda I have ever seen. The Gray Man as an awards film. Is that not the funniest, the richest thing that you've ever seen? This is in no universe. Okay. Adam Sandler in Best Actor in Hustle is something, okay? This is another thing. The Gray Man is the absolute antithesis of an awards film, but yet here it is. I can't wait until they actually update the page. By the way, it's narrative feature. It's not a documentary, for those of you who didn't know. If you look here, there's no categories yet, but at some point, they're likely going to have a category page pop up. And that's when I'm going to do an entire stream for 3 hours where we will go through what categories the Gray Man should not be considered for. And I want you guys to comment right now. What's the number one category that the Gray Man should not be considered for awards? There is one in particular. If anyone gets this right, when we finally do the giveaway stuff for FYC, I promise you that I will send you something if you get it. Hold on. To be fair, they could be pushing for the Razzie. Steven, there's no question. That makes sense. That makes sense. Oh no, someone got it. I owe someone a prize. Oh, hold on. Should not. Yes, Jennifer, that's a big one. It should not win Best Picture. There's no question. But there's something very acutely specific that we're looking at here, and someone already got it right. 2 people got it right. And it was back to back. David, congratulations to you. Best editing. LOL. Gingy, best editing will be a lock. Are you kidding me? Nick, editing cinematography. Unbelievable. 2 of the worst aspects of any film I have seen this entire year would be editing. Number 1, Gray Man editing is the worst single aspect of any film that I've seen this entire calendar year. And cinematography goes hand in hand because it's over cinematographed. It's overshot. It's like, let's get my favorite part about the Gray Man is this. It's like, let's take a shot of an action scene, and let's make sure we get every possible angle that you can even imagine, including the drone shot. And for the hell of it, let's camera underneath the car. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take all 15 of those shots and we're going to rapid fire the edits, and it'll look badass. This is the conversation the Russos had as they're editing the film. The worst edited film of the year. I mean, this is the richest thing I've ever seen. The Gray Man as an FYC film. Editing, yes, it is 100% editing. Unbelievable. AMC on 34th Street. James, I'll check that out. I want to check that out. Okay, I can't, if you want to talk Gray Man, guess what time it is, guys? It is time for open comment time. By the way, tonight's kid, I didn't put it in. It's Birmingham City tonight. Let's do it. Open comment time. Whatever you want to talk about. We can roll back to Bros. We can roll into the Gray Man. We can roll on Sandler and Cruz. Anything you want to hit me with. We do this live. And there's nothing stopping us from going wherever you want to go. I think we can do it. Right? This isn't like, don't make me do another Grace Randolph impersonation. Don't you dare. Okay, fine, I will. So everybody, I really enjoyed Bros. It was really good. I think if you look at how the movie was shot, I liked it. And also, Billy Eichner's very good. I think that it has a real shot at winning. Oh my God. The camera's here, not here. So anyhow, She-Hulk is a hell of a show. I think it's good. Do you guys like the show? Oh my God. Listen, I don't. I'm just saying what the truth is. Someone would come on here and say, make fun of me and have hands waving around and be, right? I get it. But when I'm telling you, first time I ever watched Grace Randolph, I watched and I go, what's she looking at? The camera's here. What is she looking at? She's looking at something up here. Is that it's got to be the teleprompter, right? It's got to, because I used to, as you guys, if you don't know, I used to do TV news. And the thing about the teleprompter, though, in news is here, right? So the words are in front of you, so I can still look at the camera and read. So I can say, Bros is an amazing movie. I'll tell you what, guys, I really enjoyed it. But there's no teleprompter here, okay? But I think what Grace is working with is a teleprompter that's slightly up and a little bit over. And she's like, hey, everybody, let's talk about the box office this weekend. And for me, when someone's looking like this, it just is weird, isn't it? But listen, I can say whatever. We can do this all. I mean, Grace Randolph, but she has a zillion subscribers, so she's doing something right. So at least we have that. Don't call me mean. Don't you dare call me mean. Don't you, Gone Girl, I swear to you. Don't you dare come in here and call me. I am not. It is kind of mean. I'm not going to lie to you. But someone would do this for me. I'm having fun with it. I'm not saying I'm not on here saying Grace Randolph is terrible. She's a terrible person and she's so dumb. And I didn't say that. I'm saying when she does it, she's looking at something that's off the screen, and it's a very strange experience when you watch the videos. Here, we're live. I don't even think, listen, if you guys don't know by now that we fly by the seat of our pants every single time we go live, there is very little thought into the show. I'm sure you've realized that by now. The show generally is just wing it. Start rambling about things and finding some area that we can, drill down on. And that's how we operate. So I don't know. I don't ever script a show. Can you imagine? Which by the way, is how most movie YouTube people do it, right? Watch videos. They do the edit, right? Let's see. I don't know if I can do this. Bros is a hell of a movie. Billy Eichner is really good. And then the guy, so you're literally like, you're writing a script, right? So they're doing lines, and then you're edit. Here, if we screw up, it's live, and God knows we've screwed up plenty. So it's different. It's a different format. It is definitely more of a high wire act, and that's what I enjoy doing. It's much more interesting to me. It's not. I wouldn't want to script this out. Boring. I think it's boring to watch too. We should do an MMT meetup. I have no problem with that, David. Are you here in LA? We will do that. I know Gone Girl's here. Chris Gore's here. I'm here. I mean, it's a niche show. We have a niche show, and I love the fact that it is. We will do that. I can probably get some extra seats for an awards function. I mean, maybe 10. I could probably swing like something where I said, hey, can I get like, how about 5? And I bring like 4 of you guys into an awards party. But here's the deal. If I bring you into an awards party, let's just say that this happens. I need to make one thing clear. You can't like freak out when you see a major star. You have to play it really cool. Okay. So let's imagine that we go to the Adam Sandler hustle party. We wouldn't, but imagine that we go to the hustle party when Adam Sandler's there and he's going to be dressed in sweats because he doesn't dress up. That's how he was at the Uncut Gems party I went to. He's going to be real dressed down and look kind of just like schlubby, but that's how he likes to roll. You can't go up and go, oh my God, Adam Sandler. Oh, right. No. We can't do that. You have to kind of play it cool. And even if there's someone you like, we're just going to go quietly and get a drink and hang out. And then at some point we'll corner a cinematographer and we'll talk to that cinematographer. Or like I cornered Atticus Ross at a party and just told him for literally 20 minutes how much I love The Social Network and the score. And then went on to say, I think the Book of Eli score is way better than the film. And it's a shame that you had to waste that score on Book of Eli. And they're looking at you like, oh my God, this guy. But we can't freak out. We still got to play it cool. But I think we could do it. But you got to promise me if you come along that you do not freak out on somebody. Because if we have a major star and you go walking up to the major star and going, oh, it's not going to work out. We're going to get thrown out. And I don't want to get thrown out because you got free booze, right? You got a star, you got the director, you got all these people here, and we got to play it cool, right? We want to be invited back. Maybe we could create like an MMT Awards like group, and we come in and we right. It's possible, but you can't screw up and like act childish. It's going to get us thrown out, and then it's over. Ken, you can't come. You're in Boston. I mean, are you going to fly? If you're going to fly from Boston, I will absolutely give you a slot. I'm not going to pay for your flight. Now, listen, this is a great time to veer into this. Once we get monetized, which, by the way, we're getting close. Come on, guys. Help me out. Let's go. Push this thing. Once we get monetized, I could possibly do something like that. Like fly Ken here for an awards party. But Ken knows how to act. Like Ken would be cool. Ken wouldn't freak out. I don't know if I can trust some of you. But Ken, I can trust. I don't know, David, I don't know if I can trust you. I'll totally resist my urge to fangirl unless I see Peel, Eggers, Ari Aster, or Rose Glass. Well, first of all, if I see Rose Glass, I'm absolutely going to freak out on her. There's no question. I mean, that's going to be a very awkward conversation where she's like, this guy's a little too into me. Ari Aster I talked to at an A24 party, Christmas party, like Hereditary year. So what was that? 18, 17? He was there, and he was like one of the only people in the party. It was me, him, and a few other people. I go, Ari Aster, oh my God. First of all, love Hereditary. And of course I do, so I wasn't lying. And then I said, at first I hated it, but then I loved it because it made me feel like shit, and I understand that's what you wanted. So the movie's not designed to make you feel uplifted. It's meant to depress the hell out of you, and congratulations. And then he told me a little bit about Midsummer. He told me, I said, what's your next film? It's a movie about a cult. And I go, okay. Because when you're talking to these people, and this is the other thing, you got to play it cool. When you're talking to these people and you're, drinking and you're hanging out, they will often tell you something about the future if you're really cool. Like I remember talking to Todd Phillips at the Joker party. And I said, hey, what about a Joker sequel? And he's like, well, when it makes $1 billion, that's probably something we'll talk about. Now, I understand that's kind of obvious, but the point is you might be able to get something out of these guys. But you can't go up to Robert Eggers. Well, first of all, I wouldn't go up to talk to Robert Eggers because I didn't really love The Northman. But David, if you do, then you could go up to Robert Eggers, but you still have to play it cool and be like, hey, man, listen, Robert, I like your films. They're really cool. I love the cinematography. You're cool. Just like that. Don't freak out. Okay, so David, you work with celebrities, so you know how to play cool. Good. That's what you have to do. You have to be able to do. Nick, you say I don't know if I can trust you. Invite you to the Gray Man party. First of all, Gun Girl, there's no way in hell we're going to Netflix. This is the truth. I mean this. Netflix. If I show up at a Netflix awards party, this season, I think it's a problem no matter what the film is. Honestly, the way I've gone at them this year, but especially a Gray Man event. Which I wouldn't because I'm not like I have a death wish. If I tried to get in, there's a very good chance that they would not let me into the door. And then secondly, if I did get in, there's an even higher chance that security would walk me out of the party. They'd say, you've trashed our movie, and not before Joe or Anthony, whichever, would probably take a swing at me. And at that point, it'd be kind of fun. I would laugh and I'd say, "Oh yeah, but I'm right. Your movie's edited like shit." And then they would throw a punch, but I can handle myself. You guys know I'm like, this is going off the deep end again, which I like. This show's better when we go off the deep end. Nick, the last time Cruise was nominated was for Magnolia. It was nearly 23 years ago. Producer credit TGM. The actor nom means more. Listen, he is a producer. Top Gun Maverick is in for Best Picture. There's not even a question. I think it has a real shot to win. The more and more I think about this film and the phenomenon that it was, it is, and will continue to be, I think that it has a shot to win, not just get nominated. I mean, if Hollywood wants to do what's right and honor film and movies and in a film in Top Gun Maverick that quite literally saved the movie industry, along with, No Way Home and some others. There's others. But Top Gun Maverick brought so many people back to the multiplex that hadn't been there since before COVID, and now they're still going, right? We are now seeing signs of the fall picking back up, like we said, once we get some movies that people want to see. So if you want to honor a film that did Hollywood right, and is also a great film in virtually every aspect, then you do award Best Picture to Top Gun Maverick. It's not just like a participation trophy win. It's a legitimate, deserving win if Top Gun Maverick wins Best Picture. It is well within its rights to claim Best Picture of 2022. So it could happen. And Tom Cruise getting in Best Actor is only going to help, right? The more categories you can get your film into at the Oscars, the better your chances are to win the big prize, right? Look at the stats over the years. If your film only has a Best Picture nomination and very little else, there's no chance. If your film has a Best Picture nomination and then a shit ton of other nominations, you look at even a Dune from last year that walked off with six Oscars, right? Had all those nominations in all the crafts, right? You had cinematography, production design, editing, all these things. Then you really start to look at it in Best Picture. I thought at some point, when Dune won all those awards last year, could it win Best Picture? Let's state one other thing while we're right here talking about this. Dune should have won Best Picture over Coda. I mean, you got to be kidding me. When you talk about filmmaking and you're going to give it to Coda, we're talking about Best Picture. We're not talking about Best Television Movie. We're talking about Best Picture. Allen Iverson, we're talking about practice. So that's what we're talking about. And Dune trounces Coda from a filmmaking perspective. I mean, they're not even in the same realm. They are not even comparable. So when you get your film into as many categories as you possibly can, such as Dune, such as Maverick will be in for editing. It better be. If it gets Best Actor, that's another. Supporting's, but let's just say they get crazy and say Val Kilmer supporting. It's small. There have been people who've won with smaller roles or as small. Then you have cinematography. You have song is a lock. Lady Gaga is winning song. That is over. That race is done. She wins. Hold My Hand. It will be the best. It's the best song of the year because it's used in the film as well, right? It's the biggest movie. It's a popular song, and it was used in the film. It hits all three of the major things that you're looking for Best Original Song. For me, I don't like to vote for Best Song that is in the credits, the end credits, right? Which is where a lot of the stuff is. I want to see the song used in the film. And with Top Gun Maverick, if you pay attention, you've seen it multiple times like me, you know that Hold My Hand is in the actual score cues. During the film, you hear it. Also in the background of the bar when Maverick goes back in to pay his debt. And then finally at the end, we get the song. So it's really integral to the film, right? Hold My Hand is. So that's why it should win too. It's not only is it a good song, and it's in a great film, it's also used in the film, which means that's why we have it winning. So let's hope it happens. Let's get some more comments here. You got to be high pitched. Oh, no. Do I? No, I'm not doing another Grace Randolph. Gingy, you can't. I'm not going to do another. I did my Grace tonight. We're going to talk about Bros. It's a really cool movie. I've only watched her a couple times. I just know that if I'm going to do Grace Randolph, I have to look here, not here. I have to look here in almost like a little off the camera Okay, I can't. Now you guys are gonna. He's mean. Erick's a mean person. Take him down. He's mean. He's mean. He's mean. Enough with the super serious comment. Gore, get out. I will. First of all, Chris Gore, why don't you do right now? Why don't you enter the comment that I told you to come here with on Tuesday? What was it last night? Last night. You drove across town to see a movie, and I was on the phone with Chris Gore. This is a true story because you know I don't tell lies. I can't. Gore's on the phone, and I'm like, I go, what? Hold on. I go, Gore, what are you doing? Where are you headed? You're what? You're driving across to the Grove, which is in the middle of LA. You're driving to the Grove to see what? Dude, turn around. You turn the car around. There's no reason for you to go to this movie. Why are you going? And no, I'm going to go, okay, call me afterwards. I promise you're going to hate it. You're going to think it's one of the worst movies of the year. What movie do you think Chris Gore saw last night? And then he's going to come on in a comment here in a moment. Chris Gore is going to have a comment here for all of us to see that's going to say, he knows what he's supposed to say, so you better say it. What movie did Chris Gore see last night that I told him he had no business seeing? None at all. There's no reason for him to see the movie. I see it here. Gone Girl, it's Amsterdam. It's Amsterdam. I told him not to go. It's a horrible film. And Chris Gore, I'm waiting for your comment. Type it in right now. You know what you're supposed to say. Chris Gore, I'm going to give you like literally another 5 seconds to have it show up in the comments here. If it doesn't show up, then you and I are done. You and I are done as friends, as buddies. I will never talk to you again if you don't do it. Okay, I'm waiting. He says, what's all the Maverick talk? Okay, you want to hear it? We already talked about Bros. We talked about Bros. Austin Butler's current best actor for sure. Everyone, Amsterdam sucked. You were right. Well, because, thank you. That's all I wanted to see was what you said right there. You were right. That is what we do here. You were right. And I told Gore, why did you go? It's unbelievable. Amsterdam, there's no reason to see the film. I'm going to savage it again when it comes out. I'm going to wait until it comes out to destroy it again. Top Gun's one of the most rewatchable movies ever. Scott Barkley, welcome to the channel, by the way. No question about it. I mean, Top Gun Maverick hits all the notes, right? I'm a massive fan of the film, and it gives everything that you want in a film and certainly a sequel, and that's why it's going to be really close for Best Picture. And it's not too early to talk about that. It is Amsterdam. Thank you. Amsterdam's terrible. Ken, did you watch it? So bad. God, it's terrible. The Gray Man or the Taken sequels, which one is better? We played this game the other day where I said, this movie, Amsterdam, or this movie, which is better? And no matter what movie you gave me on Twitter, I said that Amsterdam was better. And in this case, Gray Man or the Taken sequels are so bad. Oh my God. Taken 2, where his daughter, I'll never forget this. And Ken was in the screening with me. I was in Boston. He's taken, right? And the daughter's tracking him down and Taken 2. And she is throwing grenades around the city so that he can hear the explosions. So he can say, you're getting closer to me. That was the best, funniest thing I think I've ever seen in my life in a film. She's lobbing grenades around the city, right? Boom! And he's on the phone. He's like, I can hear it. The grenade. Throw another grenade. What the fuck are we doing? So Taken 2 is fun. Taken 2 is entertaining. The Gray Man is awful. There's nothing fun about it. Chris Evans' mustache isn't funny. None of it's funny. And don't tell me I have a mustache. It's a goatee. Chris Evans is not great, and in that film, it's not the right person for the role. I like Chris Evans, but he's not the right guy. It should have been a Michael Shannon. It should have been someone who's legitimately nuts. Chris Evans is too buttoned up. He just isn't crazy enough for that role. And Ryan Gosling, as much as I admire the guy, and you know I love Drive, you know I love Place Beyond the Pines, you know I love even in First Man, even though I think First Man is more of a direction film than anything. When you look at Ryan Gosling, unless he's in a comedy, right? When he does comedy, like Crazy Stupid Love, he's great. I think he has a very good personality, but when he's in a serious film, he has this, like, he almost is trying to be serious. And I go back to something, I took acting classes a long time ago. I'm not proud of that, but I took acting classes many, many years ago here in LA. And I remember the teacher was telling me, And I didn't understand it back then. See if you guys understand this. The teacher, I would do something and I wasn't great. I would say, like, let's go to the movies tonight. And he'd say, Erick, throw it away. And I'm like, what do you mean? Oh, throw it away. Throw it away. Okay. All right. And now, so many years later, I figured it out, which is pathetic. The fact that it took me this long. Throwing it away is what we do here. Everything I say on the show is throwing it away, right? We don't, well, okay, not everything. There's sometimes I drill down, it's like the screen turns blood red and Erick goes off on something. But other than that, right now, I'm throwing things away. I think that Ryan Gosling, when he's being serious guy, he gets locked into this, right, yeah. Even when he's supposed to be a little bit looser, right? Even the beginning of that scene where he's sitting across from Billy Bob Thornton. Oh, God, I can't believe I have to remember the gray man and I'm talking about it. But when he's at the table and he's like, do you want the Bubblicious or the Hubba Bubba, whatever that is, Bubblicious, right? This flavor, oh, not even, he doesn't, it's just, he's not there. I feel like Ryan Gosling needs to figure out, and I love Ryan Gosling, so please, if I ever see Ryan Gosling, please make it understood and well stated that I love the guy, and I think he's great. But I think that if I were to give him a note, and you guys could give me notes, trust me, you could fill this all in here on notes, is I would give a note to Ryan Gosling that would go like this. You're really good in comedy and you're good in drama, but I need you to find a blending of the two in that gray area. Oh, God. Did I just say gray area with Gosling and the gray man? That was not planned, I promise. You need to find something in the gray area so that you can blend the two. So when you're serious, you still have a little bit more humanity. Listen, now I'm doing acting coaching. I mean, what we've done director coaching, we've done screenwriting classes, and now we're talking about lessons on acting. That's what you get here on MMT. A 15-minute warning. 15 minutes. I'm not going past an hour tonight. You can't make me. I did it the other night, and I had horrible nightmares. Scott, I love it when Oscar bait movies get bad reviews like Amsterdam, Don't Worry Darling, Blonde, Bardo, Empire of Light, The Sun. Okay, I have not seen The Sun. I'm very excited to see it. I've not seen Bardo. I'm not excited to see that. Blonde, I'm honestly putting on the back burner. If I get to it, I get to it. I don't want to sit through 3 hours of a film that I've heard is a miserable experience, so I'm holding off on that. Don't Worry Darling, I'm much higher than other people, but yes, as an awards film, very, very likely not going to happen. Amsterdam is a 0% chance. It is not an awards film. It is a Razzie film. It's over. And you're exactly right. When you looked at this film initially, you saw it last year. I had it slated. If you remember, it was at some point, it was almost in last year. And remember, it was called Canterbury Glass. So when I saw, you're going to see Amsterdam. No, forget it. You're not going to see Amsterdam. When you watch Amsterdam and you're forced to watch it like I was, there's a line where Mike Myers says, hey, welcome to Canterbury Glass. And I went, ooh, I did the Leo, right? I go, oh, Canterbury Glass. That's for the true film nerd out there. He said Canterbury Glass. My God. That was the working title. And then we got to Amsterdam, which, by the way, let me do a quick impersonation of Amsterdam, the end of the film. If you haven't seen it, I'm going to do it. For whatever reason, David O. Russell decided that he thought it was wise to have his ass actors, look into the camera and just go, Amsterdam, Amsterdam, Amsterdam. And you're going, what the fuck are you doing? Why did you say that? And that's how the film ends. Like with a shot of John David Washington and, oh God, what's her name? Margot Robbie. She just dropped dead. Margot Robbie is just, it's not right to be that attractive. When you look, she's looking in the camera, she's like, Amsterdam. And I'm like, fuck me, what the hell am I watching? And that's when the movie ends. And you go, David O. Russell, I said this the night I came out of Amsterdam. If you missed the stream, trust me, I go all in. David O. Russell really needed this film to be good. And it's the antithesis of good. It is truly one of the worst films of the year, his worst film. The timing could not be worse for David O. Russell to be under fire for essentially being a dick on set, right? That's the story. You've seen the Lily Tomlin, right? Lily Tomlin, where he's going off on her. You need to have a great film because it will at least detract from the attention. It'll take away the spotlight of David O. Russell's an asshat, and it'll put it on the film. But he's a great director. Now David O. Russell's dealing with this. Oh, you're an asshat, and allegedly, and you're also delivering a horrible film. That's a bad combination, right? It's just not good. I go back to sports. NFL, if your team is losing and the coach is bad and has a terrible press conference and says dumb things, then you're probably in a really bad shape. If you win, it's all good. David O. Russell needed to win. David O. Russell served up a major L. Amsterdam, major. Okay, epic L. And that's the worst case scenario for David O. Russell, who's under fire for his on-set persona and being very difficult to work with. And nowadays, that doesn't work. It used to work, right? In the old days, Harvey Weinstein sure as hell got away with it for so long. But now, after Me Too, you can't do any of this stuff. You cannot do anything that makes anyone uncomfortable. So once that happens, you're in trouble. And David O. Russell's in really, really big trouble right now. And I would agree with this too, Scott. David O. Russell is a hit and miss director. There's no question about it. None at all. That when he's on, he's on. When he's off, he's off. I actually like Joy. I do not love Silver Linings Playbook. And I told you why I don't love it, because I think it's a weird tonal mess. And I also, the number one problem of Silver Lining Playbook for me is when I watched it with Ken Murray in Boston, I sat there at a 7 o'clock screening. I'll never forget. Silver Linings Playbook's like a great movie. And I went there. Wait a second. I thought that Bradley Cooper and Jennifer Lawrence were playing brother and sister when I saw the ad. I go, they're lovers? This isn't right. The casting is so wrong. They are brother and sister. They are not lovers. And when they are lovers, the whole film doesn't work. I am right about that. I know it. James, what movie in 2023 do you think is going to top Gun of the Year, at least close? James, we said this when we talked about Maverick when it was out. It is unwise to think that we're going to get another Top Gun Maverick anytime soon. The reality is that it is a once in a, not a lifetime, but once in a many year situation where you get a film that is a phenomenon, a sensation. I would argue, now it doesn't have the box office numbers, but I would argue that another film that's a sensation. Now, you might not like the film, but it was a sensation, certainly to younger kids and to families. Anyone who knows where I'm headed here, it was from a few years ago. Some of you hate it. I think it's super entertaining. I think the songs are great in it. Yep, Erick saying it, The Greatest Showman. The Greatest Showman was a phenomenon, not in the same way as Top Gun Maverick, right? Because that's a whole nother thing. But what was interesting about Greatest Showman is you had a soundtrack that sold shit ton of copies. And the song, This Is Me, is big. A lot of those songs, these kids know. I mean, I remember going to my kids' recital. There was like not a recital, it was like a talent contest. The entire talent show was Greatest Showman themed. And let me tell you, when you get to that level of awareness, where an entire talent show at an elementary school is devoted to the theme of The Greatest Showman, then we're talking a phenomenon. And that doesn't have the box office, but very much like Top Gun Maverick, which has the box office, a phenomenon where everybody is aware of what it is and probably has seen it. We don't get those very often. So when you ask what the next movie is like that, I'll tell you what, it's really, I think it's asking a lot. I think we need to look years out. It's not going to happen again. Lightning in a bottle, cliche as it is, that's what Top Gun Maverick was. Now, we'll have other films people watch, MCUs and DCEUs and major event films. Yes, we'll have those things, but another Top Gun Maverick, it's not going to happen anytime soon. As much as I want it to, I think it's just safe to say that it's not going to happen. Just looked up box office. Greatest Showman made $435 million worldwide. That's what, see, this is what I'm talking about. Now, it's not $1 billion film, but $435 million worldwide is why 20th Century, then Fox, is working on a sequel, because it was such a hit. And again, man, that soundtrack was everywhere. Wherever you went, people were playing that thing. And I say this all the time. I'm saying it again tonight. If you've never heard it, I've said it in many tweets. The songs in The Greatest Showman are superior to the songs in La La Land. No question in my mind at all. And it's the same composers, Benji and I forget Paul. I want to say Paul. It's not Paul. The two of them wrote both of them, and I tell you, across the board, the songs in Greatest Showman are better. Now, you may not like the movie as much, and I understand it's not exactly accurate with P.T. Barnum's real life, but I've made this case many times before. When we watch a movie, let's use The Woman King, for example. I don't expect the filmmakers to give me an exact documentary of the life of whoever we're covering, okay? So there are creative liberties taken with every film that you watch based on a true story. I always bring this one up. I go to the movie The Butler, which some of you probably already forgot, going way back to like 2011, 2010, somewhere in there. The Butler was a film that added a son, added an entire plot line that was devoted to a son that never existed. So this has been going on forever, and this is just one example. I'm using like an obscure movie that's no one thinks about anymore, The Butler. But that was the thing, is like the son didn't even exist. And none of what happened, and no one said anything about that with The Butler. So, but yet, when The Greatest Showman doesn't detail all the dirty things about P.T. Barnum, then The Greatest Showman is the worst thing ever. And that's the problem I have also. We only have like 5 minutes, so I'm going to mention one other thing. When people talk about Bohemian Rhapsody, they get all about, oh, that's not the real Freddie. I'm sorry. I've seen Bohemian Rhapsody multiple times. Bohemian Rhapsody is a pretty good snapshot of who Freddie Mercury was. And everyone who says there's not enough of him being gay in the film, I completely disagree. I completely disagree. It's very obvious in the film it's there. It's everywhere in that film. And I get crazy when people say things like that, because it's like, it's there. If it's not there, you have something to say. What drives me nuts is when people say things like that to get like generate some kind of attention or something, and then for what? And I'll mention this, and I've never talked about this. I'll talk about this as well. We might as well just keep going, because this is now I might go a little long. I can't stand when people say things that aren't true, verifiably aren't true, and then create almost like a victimization for themselves, right? So here's a great example. I go back to a year ago, and I have no problem telling you this story. It's 100% accurate, and the person I'm talking to knows I'm right. A year ago, I was going through Twitter, and I'm looking through Twitter, and I see a tweet that says, I'm paraphrasing, I don't have it in front of me. The tweet said something to the effect of, it's a shame that no female critics are ever on FYC screeners. So in other words, when they take a quote that you see on these FYC screeners behind me, you see some quotes like thrilling and emotionally authentic. Okay. So right there. Okay. So this critic, who is a female, said there's no females that are ever quoted on FYC screeners. And I said, wait a second. Wait. Hold time out. I have a stack of FYC screeners, even from that season. It was last year, or maybe it was the year before. I forget now. It's one of the two. And I go, let me start going through these. So I start going through them. And I literally start, because I go, listen, if you're going to tell me something, and you're going to tell me it's accurate, and you're going to say it's truthful, like, oh, it's true, then of course I'm going to say, wait a second, I don't think that's right. Let me go explore. Before I reply, I'm going to look into it. So I grab all my screeners, I start flipping them over, and I say, hey, wait a second. There's a female critic that's quoted. There's one. No joke. I got done counting through my screeners, and I had at least 20. I sent the tweet out. If I'm not mistaken, the number was like 75 to 80% of the boxes that I had in front of me for FYC screeners had female critics on the FYC screener. So the quote was directly attributed to a female critic. But this person wanted to be a victim and get likes for saying, oh, it doesn't happen. But it does. So you're a liar when you say that, because it does. And you know what's funny? As I tell you this story, I turn around and I look at Dune. Thrilling and emotionally authentic. Do you know who has the quote on that? Lindsay Barr, AP, a female critic. These are the things that drive me crazy. I can't stand when people use things for their own. I don't even know what it's for. Is it a victimization thing? Is it a woe is me thing? Is it an attention thing? If you want attention, then earn it. But don't make things up. And I just, when I saw that, I couldn't believe it. Go back and look. The thread's there. Search my Twitter. I have no problem. The person, though, did have a problem with me mentioning. Of course they did, because I called them out. Because you're lying. If someone's lying, you're going to call them out. I hope you are. Here, you can call me out here. It's all good. There, that was good. Man, that was fun. We're just about done. I want to tell that story, and it feels really good to finally get it off my chest. Because again, I was right. Even if the Academy nominates Tom Cruise, I truly believe he stopped caring that he might not show up. Tom knows that if he gets a nomination, it's big. So I disagree with that, Scott. I got to say that Tom is aware that if Hollywood decides to give him a Best Actor nomination, he will show up. I know you're joking, but I think Tom loves the business. We know that. Loves doing his own stunts, which shows that he's all in. And he understands the importance of at least trying to get a Best Actor. So we're going to see in the weeks that come, and believe me, you'll find out here on MMT. We're going to keep you updated. Award season is just getting underway, and you know that's my specialty. We talk about box office, we talk about all kinds of things. But I'll tell you what, when it comes to award season, nobody is going under the hood like me. And when we get there, we'll talk about Tom Cruise. Is he going out? Is he going to do events? Is he doing something like an Adam Sandler is doing this weekend with a major Hollywood star pushing him for Best Actor? Tom Cruise needs to do that. Not that Tom Cruise needs anybody in support. Tom Cruise needs to do a few FYC events where he meet and greet members of the Academy, Golden Globes, Critics' Choice, all of these groups, so that you press the flesh and then he's in the conversation. Why not, man? Tom Cruise, go for it. You have a real shot here. Just put a little bit minimal effort in, and I think you can get a Best Actor nomination. Adam Sandler, no chance. Tom Cruise, yes. All right, guys, that's going to do it for tonight. I am exhausted. That was a fun hour, though. I really appreciate everyone being here. We'll be back here on Sunday night. We'll have box office discussion. We'll have more of whatever you want to talk about. Do me a favor, like, subscribe, and let's spread it. Let's get this monetized so we can fly Ken Murray from Boston to LA so that he can come to an awards party. And anyone else, once we get this when it happens, remember the rule. If we get you into an awards party, you got to play it cool. You cannot freak out on the stars. That is the number one rule, okay? You just got to play it cool. I'll see you on Sunday night. Good night, guys.